Hi all, thank you and welcome to my session here at Microsoft Fabric Global Online Conference. In this session, we are going to see how you can apply a metadata driven approach on your data to make it more useful and you can make it very efficient and less cost as well. So it's like less maintenance as well. So how you can do that when specifically you have a data in various different formats and various different places. So how you can apply this metadata driven approach or control table approach so you can make it very useful and you can save a time as well. So there are many approaches, but we are going to see a very simple approach through using the Microsoft Fabric. Same ideas you can apply in Data Factory as well as in Synapse data integration pipeline as well. And you also can use a notebooks as well. You can configure your notebooks as well and you can execute that as well. But we are going to see a purely a no code low code way using the Fabric data factory pipeline. So myself, I'm Alpa Buddhabhatti and I'm working as a lead data engineer. And you can find me in LinkedIn, Twitter, and you can find this blog about this session as well as like how you can implement by your own way all nodes as well as code you can find in here in GitHub as well. I have also a YouTube channel as well, and I have blogs in Medium as well. So that's about me. Now let's go to today's agenda. So today's agenda is very straightforward. We are going to see an overview of metadata driven approach, and then we see a series of demo. We are going to see a three business outcomes or requirements, which is very simple as well. And then we're going to see a few simple business outcome, like what you can do if you want to do in different way or different formats. And then we conclude the session, and then we have a time for Q&A as well. You can ask a question in middle or you can keep in end as well, because I think we should have a few minutes, at least 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. So now let's see a quick overview of a metadata driven pipeline. So it's like, what is a metadata driven pipeline? So first of all, metadata driven means data about data or structure of your business requirements or outcome. So basically you are configuring a structure of your business outcome or behavior in a table or in a file. So which you can use to execute your pipeline. So it help you to answer few questions. So for example, based on this configuration table or control table or file, you can find out few information like what information is contained in the business outcome or data. For example, source, what is a source, what is a sink for that business outcome. For example, it can have a data in SFTP location or maybe in SQL table or one lake or like that. So based on this configuration, you will immediately get idea that this business outcome have a source which is SFTP, as well as what is a sink like target. So you can get idea like target may be a file or table or a type as well, like what is a type of the source, maybe it's file or table, and what is the type of the sink as well. So you get those information through this configuration. It also has you to see what operations is used for your business outcome. For example, you are loading full load or delta load, or you doing some delete operations. You need to delete some data, or maybe you need to update some data, or you need to apply some transformation. So for that, you may be using the store procedure. So those all information you stored in this column called operation. So these also you can find through your metadata configuration. And some other functionality, for example, do you need email or not? And if you need email for that business outcome, then what is the information for that? So you find this information like to whom you send email, is need attachment or not, um, any error related information, everything you can configure in this table. So you will get those all ideas by just looking into one line configuration, one or two lines of configuration. So it answers this all kind of the question, and it also gives you the information like each step of your pipeline execution where your data is storing. For example, you are storing your data for row stage, then you will find out which location it's. If it's in a silver layer, then also you find out what area or which container or which location your data has stored. So this all information you can configure in a table, which can help you to control your pipeline, and you can make a generic pipeline, so one pipeline can help you to work on a number of business outcomes. So in short, we can say that it is a control information or a configuration information regarding your business outcome or a business requirements for your workflow, pipelines, or exercise package, and many more. So you can configure these all things in table format. You also can do, maybe if you don't want to use table, you can use a blob table or blob file as well. You can configure that way as well. You can configure in JSON file if you like that approach as well. So, but in this approach, we are using a configuration table as Azure SQL database table. So that's overall what is a metadata driven approach. Now let's see when you need to use a metadata driven approach, because sometimes it may not be effective in your scenario. So for example, if you have a variation, like you have a load a data from various different sources in various different methods, like you need a delta load, or you need a full load, or you need a delete load, load, or maybe you need to apply some transformations to store procedures or something else. So if you have that kind of the variation in your data engineering project, then you can use a metadata driven approach. um, Also it will help you, like when there is API, you are calling the API or Salesforce or CRM 365 or maybe Azure function or something like that. If you are using those as well, then also you can configure those source in your metadata driven approach. It's very easy and very convenient. It's all information in one place. So you, in this situation, you can use a metadata driven approach. But if you have 100 tables or 100 file, it's you just moving from one place to another single place, then you can use just a lookup or metadata and a for each loop. It will work for that. But if you have a different kind of the variation, like you need a list of columns, not all columns, for a particular tables, or you need delete a data for not all tables but a particular table or something like that. So if you have that kind of the variation, you can use a metadata driven approach. So now let's see. Yeah. So here is more information that it help you to define and manage and automate these all the processes, and making your data integration and transformation more flexible and efficient. So if you use based on your requirements, then it really add automation and reduce a lot of human errors as well. So let's see some benefits why you use them. So like it help you to easy to maintain, because you need some time to initially to build your metadata driven approach, but after that you can easily maintain, because you don't like three business outcome or 100 business outcome, you're using the one or two pipelines, so you can easily maintain them. Otherwise you have to use a individual, maybe 100 pipelines or maybe 50 pipelines or like that. But here it help you to easy to maintain, because you don't need to do duplications, and it's only a generic pipeline. So, and it is a ready for future features as well. So for example, today you only using for SQL database and Azure SQL, on-premise database and blob storage or SFTP. But tomorrow, if you are using API, or maybe if you're using the CRM 365 source, then also you can easily modify them by adding few configuration in table as well as few steps in your pipeline. And if you are using the same scenario, like using same source, then it's very easy. You just need to add a configuration. That's it. You do not need to change your pipeline if it's similar scenarios which you already have. So that is a one benefit as well. And because of that, quick it makes your development pipeline very quickly, because you don't need to redesign many things. It's already there, already tested. You are modifying them, you are using them. So, and it's reduce the human mistakes, because if you do duplications and then you maybe forget to change in one place, and it works maybe in another place for one pipeline, and after some time you will get idea that, oh, it's not working, it's break. So here, those kind of the mistake you can reduce as well. And another thing is like patterns, like whatever you have in your data solution, it has a pattern and its uniformities, like it's following the formats or patterns when you deploying in future as well, when you're building in future other new business outcome as well. And it based on that we can set easy to scalable as well. And this is actually is doing documentation for you. So like you have a big documents, and you would like to know what is source and what is the frequency of running the pipelines and what is targets and which operation is doing, is you need to send email functionality or not. And there are so many other parameters, all things you have documented. But here you just going to see in table, you can just select from this table where your spec code or business outcome is this. You will get all information in single line or few lines. So it's like auto documented. You don't need to worry about that. So like you can easily find those information from there. So these are the main benefits to use a metadata driven approach. It's you make your pipeline dynamics and reusable. So ultimately it's make you productive and actually it's doing the engineering on your business outcomes. So this is a very good approach to use. There are various different way you can do that, but we are looking into simple one, and then you can enhance based on this. So now let's see a demo. So before we see a demo, let's see what resources we are using for this demo. So we have Azure SQL database, and it has a configuration table, as well as it has a row table for some of the business outcome as well. We have Azure Data Lake Gen 2, and we have SFTP. But you can use one lake or other source as well. But I have used for simplicity purpose, I have used this. But if you are using Fabric, then you can directly use one lake as well. Um, and then we have, of course, Fabric with data pipelines. Here we have used a data pipelines, but you can do same way you can configure your notebooks as well. And you can do dynamic, run your notebooks or parameterize your notebooks, and you can configure them into a table. So now what happened that when pipeline runs from Azure Data Factory in a Fabric, it first read a configuration from Azure SQL database table, and based on those configuration, it will read a data from either one of source. It may be read from data from here, or from here, or it can be write either one of them. So for that, you can see that here we have configuration table, and for some scenario we have a raw data as well, actual data as well. And then it may be load data here or itself as well. So this is the pretty much we're going to see in a demo. So let's see a few approaches for that. So here we have considered the three business approach, which is not complex as well, so anyone can understand, but you can make it more complex as well. So here you can see that we have a data or requirements for a football sports data. So here we have n number of table, and we need to save this table into a SFTP location, on-premise SFTP location, as a CSV file. And this, like for example, if I have a five table here, then it will save a five files in this location with this all other information. And so file name also I'll get from the configuration table. It's like which file name should be there, like file name should be having date or something like that. And in this demo, because SFTP is not working in my local machine, so I have used Azure SQL, sorry, blob storage having the SFTP features. And here you can see that we have n number of tables, but we need all table for full load. So we're loading everything to that. And for some table, we need a selected columns because that table has 100 columns, but we are only interested the 5 columns or 50 columns. So that's why we have selected columns as well. And some of the table have a different target as well in a SFTP location. Maybe it's in a goal area or maybe in somewhere else or somewhere else. So there are few areas in SFTP as well. So that you can define in here as well. And for some file, we're doing deletion as well because when data is older than certain days, we would like to delete those data for that particular table. So for that, we can use a delete operation as well for that particular table. And our requirement is to it should be easily scalable and it minimize the code and configuration. So this is our main requirement. And here we do not have email functionality. So this is a very first business outcome. So ultimately, we just are doing to be loading the data and we doing some daily operation and we selecting few tables and there is a no any email functionality. So that is my business outcome one. So for that, I don't need to create a pipeline for business outcome one. I can create a common pipeline as well. So for that, let's see a business outcome two as well. But before see here, what is a configuration for a business outcome one. So here you can see that these are the configurations. Like for example, source type is a table and source is table 1 to 200 table or n number of table. Here we need for few tables we need full load, and then maybe some table we need a delete operations. Also we selecting all columns, and here we selecting the list of column for this table, but maybe for other table we using all columns because it has only 5 columns and those all are important. So this way you can add this in your configuration as well. You also can add where condition as well, like when you want to delete a data because it's older than certain days and it's not useful, then you can do a where condition as well in your configuration table. And you also can have a source type, and even directory as well, like container names or path as well, and file extension as well. You also can add here more information like when you run your pipeline, like frequency of your pipeline, like every day or once a month or every hour or like that. So you can add that as well. And you can add so many other things. You can add like um, schema as well. Schema definition also you can add if you have. So this is a basic one for business outcome one. And now we're going to see a business outcome two, and that's we have for cricket data. Here also we have n number of table. You can keep as n number of file as well because that approach also can work. And we're doing same thing what we done earlier for business outcome one because we're saving the file into blob storage. We here we're doing full load for all tables, and it's a very simple one, and we're doing the same thing like no email functionality and scalability purpose. So this is a business outcome too. So let's see here. So this is very simple. So here also you can see in a configuration that this is your business outcome one, and you have n number of table. You using here full load as operation for all tables. Some table you have selected columns and some table you have all columns, and then there is a no anywhere conditions, and then this is your sync types, sync related information or target related information, extension and etc. So this is a business outcome two, and now let's going to see a three. So this is a business outcome three, and here we have a movie data. So far we have seen that we have a business requirement related to footballs, cricket, and now we're going to see a requirements for movies. So we have a three business outcome. Here also you can have a file, n number of file rather than table, but I just use file because I change configuration earlier. So So same thing is there, but here we doing a delta load. Most of the things are same for first one, but here for not all files, for movie files we are doing full load, but for rating files we doing the delta load. So in this business outcome we have, for example, three files or two files. So that doesn't mean all two file have to do delta load. Maybe one file need a delta load, one file need a deletion, and one file need a full load, or nothing, like just updation. So all it can be happen in that. It can possible as well. So this is the same thing we seen earlier, but only thing is we are using here tables. So now let's see a demo using the metadata driven approach. So let's go to Fabric. So I think you may have a question that we have a three business outcomes, so at least we have three pipelines or something like that, but not. We have only two pipelines, and that also not a specific business outcome, it's a generic one. So here you can see that when you have this kind of the requirements, you first you need to analyze your requirements, and based on that you need to define your configuration table, like you need to find out what is your source and sink directory path, if there is any, what kind of the operation it needs, and there are so many other things. So based on that you need to design your configuration table. So this is the solution for our problem, to for our three business outcome. So we have, based on this information, we find out that which kind of the column we need in our control table. And here you can see that like what is my pipeline design. So based on these all requirements, this is my pipeline design. So I have one main pipeline, and here it has a lookup activity, and then inside have a for each loop activity, and then it's executing the pipeline. Maybe it's one, business outcome two, or business outcome three. And here I have at the moment I have a delete operation, full load, and delta load. But if you have more operations like execute the store procedure, or execute on Azure notebooks, or maybe a Fabric notebooks or something, then you can add here one more operations as well. Or you have APIs or CRM 365 call, which is slightly different, then you also can have it here as well. You can add one new operations for that. And these are the parameters we are reading from table, control table, and we're passing into child table. So let's go to here. So that's solution we're going to do. And now let's see a resources. So this is my resource, Azure SQL database. And you can see here that I have a delta load table as a configuration table, because business outcome 3 need a delta load. So here we created new table. Why? Because delta load is not used by all business outcome, or not even all seen items in that same business outcome as well. Maybe in movie data, business outcome 3, we have a two files, but only one file need a delta load, not another one. So better not to keep all in one config table. We should create a new table, which is a delta load table. So this is the one. So this is a delta load table, and you can see that at the moment, um so it has this information, it has a unique primary ID, it has a spec code, so you can join them with a main configuration table. And here I have used a minimum start value, because I have a primary key or unique key for a movie rating table. But if you do not have a primary key or like that, you can use date window as well. Like you can have a min date and max date. So here you can have two different columns as well for that. And this is just updating, like every time this will updates, you will see that this column have a new value. So this is a delta load table, but in your requirements you can modify this in many different way. Like if you have a pagination, or if you're refreshing Power BI reports and then you have every time new ID or something, you can have that ID here as well. So you can do based on your requirements, you can modify this table or design this table slightly different way as well. And this is the main table, which is a configuration table. So this is a pipeline configuration table. So based on your business requirement, we are storing the whole configuration for a business requirement into this table. So here you can see that. So here you can see that we have a business outcome one, total 9 row is there. So we have business outcome one, business outcome two, and business outcome three. So here we have a table as well. So you can see that this naming standard also you can see that is based on business outcome one. So you can see this is business outcome one for the goal scores history table where we just are going to delete our data uh, during the certain amount of day, not full data. And these other three table for that business outcome we loading into a one lake or blob storage or like that. And in business outcome 2, you can see that we have these three files, and this is a full load. So we just loading into one place to break a silo. We can load into one lake as well. But we in this demo, we're going to load into storage lake gen 2, and then these are the ones. So here, this one again, it's full load, but this one is a delta load. So these all information you can get it in this table. So looking into that table, you will get idea. So for that spec code is like business outcome. So this is my business outcome number, and this is what is a source for that and what is a target for that. Here you can see the source and target types as well, because sometimes you have a type as API or something like that, or CRM 365, or maybe Salesforce or something like that. And you are using the Salesforce API, not a Salesforce a table. So based on that, you can configure your types, source type and target types here. However, I haven't used that in consideration, but you can use that in your pipeline to filter out as well, to control your pipeline as well. And this is a where condition. So for example, mainly, I think I have used that for deletion. So here is because I would like to delete a data which are older than 90 days. So for that, you can see that I have used this where condition. So everything you configuring here, so in your pipeline, you cannot see anything hard coded. You will getting even condition also from this table. And you can see here operation. It can be delete or full or delta. And for some table I need a whole column, so these are the star for that. And for some table I need only the selected columns, so you can see here is selected column as well. And these are the locations, like is it SFTP or maybe it's in a container name like uh, cricket container for cricket data. And here you can see that more there is a movie container as well. So these are using in blob storage, but same way you can use a one lake as well. So this is your location in one lake. You can imagine like that, and your file extension can be like CSV or maybe JSON or something else as well. And there may not be an file extension in some scenario when you're deleting or updating. And this is for you need email functionality. So if you need email functionality, then it will be true. And based on that, you will send a email. You will read the email configuration table and then send the email based on that. So these are the very basic parameter we have captured in this pipeline configuration or control table, but you can add many more as well. So let's go to here, and this one is email configuration table, because not all business outcome or not all items in that business outcome need a email functionality. So that's why we have a email pipeline email configuration or control table. And here you will find more information about your email. So let's go to here. So yeah, you can see at the moment, because I have only one pipeline, which is business outcome three need email functionality. So that's why I have only one item in here. It's a spec code because we need to join them. That's why. And email to whom I need to send email, from whom it's email coming, and CC if there is any, and message as well. If you need to type any personal message or customized message, then you can type in. You can have one customized message field as well. And there is attachment or not. If there is attachment, if here is a true, then where it should pick. So there is a path field as well. And if there is error, then also you can add here more information. So these are the very basic information for that, but you can add more information here as well, like email titles, email body, and there are so many things. So mainly these are the three tables are configuration table, and these are the actual raw data table for our business outcome. But in sometimes you don't need to have a table for everything. You may have a files, you may have a API calls, or you have on-premise database or something like that. So however it not make any change, you just need to change here configuration. You need to change your type for source and targets, and you need to slightly change your pipeline. That's it. So if you going to see in here, so this is the same table. So like this is the table. Here you can add or modify few new columns based on what kind of the sources you have. I think we already have discussed these all things. This is a delta load table, but our scenario we have a main window start value, but you can have a date as well, min and max date as well. Um, so here what happened when your pipeline run first time, in this table you have a zero. But when you run next time and it's load all data into the table for that particular time, so after execution of that, this value will change. Like if it has read 100 records, then here you will find 100 values. So tomorrow you have a new data from 101 and 102. So third time you run your pipeline, it's only load data like 102 and 103. Those two data it will be load because it's use this window value. Whatever value is here, it use in a where condition. So and this is a table for email functionality. And so you first need to design your table, then you need to create your table based on your requirement output, whatever you need, as well as your future requirements as well. And then you need to insert data into those tables. For example, business outcome one have a four table, and then here you can see that what its target name and source and target types, and operation is a full load, delta load, or those kind of the things, where conditions for deleting data, and if need email functionality or not. So this and limit, if you need a selected column, then this is a selected columns in here. So these are the things you need to prepare in the table, and so you need to insert those information into table. So this is for that, and this is for business outcome 2, which is similar to first one, and this is a third one, which is delta one. Here you need to do slightly change because your delta table and pipeline configuration table are connected to each other. So when you insert a value into your configuration table, and if it need a delta load, then you need to insert that entry into your uh, delta load table as well. However, default value is zero for your mean value, or maybe whatever you choose, like start date or end date, you set the default one. So here you can see that I'm setting that one for this, because for one business outcome we need email functionality as well. So here we inserting into email table, and this is for updating a main window. So initial and spec code as well. So this is for that. So this way you need to update or like create table and then update table or insert table as well based on your list of business outcome, and then you will design your pipeline. So for that, let's go to here, and my source. or sync as Azure Blob Storage as well. So here you can see that few containers before I run pipeline. So at the moment we have a three business outcome. We have a movie, we have a cricket, and we have a football one. But we storing them in SFTP. So we are interested into three container, one which is cricket container, and you can see that it's empty at the moment. There is no data in here. And then we are interested into this container, and you can see this container also empty at the moment, and we looking for this as well. And these, so all required containers are empty at the moment. So once we run pipeline, you will see data here. If you have used a one leg, then your data will go into one leg. It's the same way, only the connection is different. That's it. And then I'm lose. Okay, yeah. I yeah. So this is data factory in Microsoft Fabric. And for this business outcome solution is we have these pipelines. That's it. We don't need to create a multiple pipelines for each. We need a one business outcome pipeline and for a one child one. And we have a two pipeline. That also reason because why we have a child pipeline. I will explain you here. So here you can see that we have a requirement to use a for loop. So if I use the same pipeline, then I cannot access certain property of this for each loop. For example, I need few information like here item dot source name or something like that. So if I have here, for example, if activity or switch activity or another for each loop, then I cannot have this access. I cannot access these items in here. Actually, it's not feasible to use a nested those kind of the activity. So that's why I need to create a new child pipeline. So and here I'm just doing execute child pipeline. So you can see that my for loop, my for loop in here in this main pipeline, I have only execute child pipeline. I'm just executing the child pipeline, doing nothing. So I can have a same logic here in one pipeline, but because of simplicity and another reason is you cannot access for each loop uh, properties, and actually you cannot do a nested that those kind of the activity. So because of that, I have created another pipeline which is child pipeline. So basically in this pipeline, I'm just reading the configuration and I'm passing to child pipeline to execute it. So this is my lookup activity, and here you can see that I'm using my Azure SQL database connections, and this is the query. So I'm selecting the data from configuration table and data load table. So here again, not all file or all item which we have in here have a delta load. Maybe out of 100 items, we need only delta load for one item. So that's why we have in separate table. And because of that, we now need to join them. So here we have a left join from configuration table and delta load table. You also can do for email as well, but then I did it last time because again, not all pipeline need email functionality, only few of them. So I kept that functionality very end when it's really needed. So and then here we are joining based on business ID or spec code ID, and this is my spec code or business code like business outcome 1, business outcome 2, or business outcome 3. So based on this information, it only give me the relevant information from this configuration table and delta load table. So let's go to here. So now I have all requirements information for my particular pipeline, and those information I'm passing into here for each loop like this way, all items, and then inside for each loop, I'm passing this all information I read for that particular business outcome to here. So for example, business outcome 1, I have a 4 items. So this will return 4 items with all information, and those information I'm passing into here. So this for loop will work for 4 times. Okay. So now this is a child pipeline. So here what happened? If I have business outcome one and it has a four entries, then for each entry it will run. And here you can see that I think it's hide somewhere. Um, yeah, basically I have a pipeline here, but it look like it's hide somewhere. I'm not able to find it, but let's go to here, and I think we maybe get that uh, through a different way, like while executing one. So in that child pipeline, we have a switch, and inside that we are using the operation like delta operation or delete operation or full load operations, or maybe you can have calling the API or something like that. So for that you have a switch, and let me run. I think maybe we can go through like that way. Oh, sorry. So I'm running for business outcome one, and we have seen earlier that our containers is empty, and for business outcome one is for SFTP1, but anyway it's empty. So it is running. So basically it's going to read that same query from a table, and here is passing the business outcome one because we have a parameter, and I think it has written the information. So you can see that it returning the four output, four records or items, and like here you can see that it have a this table name, and these are all information. What is the source for that table? What where condition is used? If there is any, if it's need all field or limited field, what is a directory or container. So this it stores the file into this container, and you can see file extension. And in this situation we don't need a main window value, so it's null because there is a no delta load. So same way you will see this information for another item as well. So here is a result table. Here it's using the selected columns only, not all columns. And this is another one, and then this is another. This is pretty much same, but here we are doing the delete operation. So you can see operation is delete, and this is a where condition. Again, this is not we typed here. It's come from table because we configure it way because of the business requirements. So these are the things. So this information is passed to for each loop, and for each loop run four times. And then you can see here individual. So based on what it needed, is it delta load or full load? Based on that, it will do operations. So yeah. Anyway, I cannot see it here, but I can show you here. So yeah. So for this base operation is doing the full load, and here is checking that is there is email functionality needed or not. It's not, so that's why it's not executing any items in here. Okay, and so that is the one thing. Um, so same way it have executed for four different items, and one of them is deletion one. I think if I can find it here. Yeah, this is the one lucky. So yeah, so this one is doing deletion. So you can see these are the parameters is coming from table, and it's doing deletion. So if we go to here, so you can see that it has executed deletion operation. However, not sure there is a data older and it has deleted or not, but it executed that query, which is this one, delete from this table, where expiry date is less than 90 days from today. Um, so yeah, so this, and there is a no email functionality for this as well. So there is items, but it's not executing anything. Okay, I think let me refresh this. Then maybe we can see a design. So while it's doing that, let's go to here. And if I refresh this one, you will see that there are data. You will find three entries. Uh, So because you have three files, because one table which is a history table, which are not moving data, we just deleting data. So it's there is no any copy activity. It's just a delete operation, script task. So this one you can see it here, and you can see timestamp as well. Um, so if I go to here, okay, now you can see it. I have to refresh, then I can see design. So this is a child pipeline, and you can see that in child pipeline we have a number of parameters. These are all parameters. These are all information you're getting from parent pipeline from the table, configuration table or control table for that particular item, and then we passing into child pipelines. And these are the all important parameters, and those we are considering into here. So I have used a switch activity based on a operation like delete operation, full load, data load, or API load, or executing stop procedure or something like that. So based on that, I have a load, but you can have a something else as well in your scenario. So here you can see that we done, and this is email functionality. So here you can see that because we know that not all pipeline is sending the email or not all business outcome is needed email. So that's why we have here if condition. If there is a flag true in a table, then and then we are fetching all information from this table. So you can see it here that now we are fetching the required parameter from this configuration table based on a spec code or based on a parameter which we passing this pipeline to pipeline. And at the moment in here, we use a business outcome 001. Um, that's it. And this is full load. So if you want to see full load, then we are just moving data based on parameters. So for that, you can see it here in source. This is the query. So here there is a no any hard coded things. We saying select these things. So here we are not passing that. So you can see that this one you getting from configuration table for that particular item. So for example, business outcome one have a four tables, but for this particular table, I only need the three columns because I have configured. So those three columns is here, and this is a source table. So like for example, it's table one of that business outcome. So this is actual table name. So we are selecting from actual table these columns. That's it. Here we can use where condition as well if we need it. But for here it's full load, so we don't need that. So that's why it's just a simple thing. So this query, what it will do, it will just select, for example, is this table. Then this is my source table. So it's just doing select list of column or maybe one column or three column, whatever we mention in configuration table, those and from this table. It's just a simple select statements in there. Uh, and so that is that. And in destination one, we are using this. So here I'm saying you can use a one lake as well. So you have your one lake connection, and this is your directory, and this is your file name, like what the way you want to save your file, like your. So this target name you get also from your configuration table, and then extension also you get from your configuration table for that particular file. And this way you saving your file like target.csv or whatever is xyz.csv, whatever you have information in your configuration table for that particular things, you can have that. um, so yeah, that one. And this is the directory like SFTP or business outcome one or cricket or whatever we have. So those are the things it saves. So that's it. So now if we go to another condition, which is delta load. So this is a delta load one. So here It's similar to full load, but apart from that, we need here these things like we selecting few columns or limited columns or all columns, whatever you have in here. This field is from that particular table, and then here we are using the expiry date. Okay, so this is a where condition we're getting expiry date is less than 19 or not. But here we are using the where condition for a delta load. So this field we are selecting from delta load table because initially we have joined, so we have those information. So in that table, if we have a zero, then it will load everything. But if has a 200 or 300, then it only get data from 201 to all data. So for that, you need this main window status value, which coming from delta load. So basically, we are filtering here data because this is a delta load. And after load the data, we are let's see here. So these are the same the way we have in for previous example full load. But in delta load, you need to update your watermarks in tables. Like you need to update this information. You need to update your delta load table. So this is my delta load table, and I updating this main window value. And then if it's first time, then we need to do zero. Otherwise we need to update with a different value, which is here. And here you can see that we also updating the date as well, and we're doing for a particular spec code ID. So that's for updates in delta load. If you have a main date and max date window, then you need to update those field as well. But here we have a main value only, so we're using that value for delta load because it's a primary key or unique key for whatever data we have for more business outcome 3. So this is for delta load. And for deletion, it's simple things. It's just a do delete. Let's go to here. It's a delete from a particular table and where condition is also getting from that. So this is a delete operations. Uh, so that's it. Now let's go back to main pipeline, and now we can run for another business, which is a business outcome 2. So if I want to run in real time, like in production, then I don't do like this manually. So what I will do, I will create a triggers. I will schedule my pipeline into three different ways. So same pipeline, but three different triggers with having the specific business outcome for each, like business outcome 1, business outcome 2, and business outcome 3. And if tomorrow I have a new requirements like new business outcome and I'm using same pipeline, then I can create another triggers as well for that. So it's like same pipeline, but you can use them for different business outcome. So this business outcome 2 is very simple. I think it's just doing loads. So again, you can see that what it has input. So this is a query for business outcome 2. And here you can see that it has a three entries. So that's why you have three information for that. Um, and these are the all information like what container it is. So if I now go to this container, if I refresh, oh, it's already there. So you can see timestamp as well, and it has loaded these three files because it's just a simple load. And if I run this for business outcome 3, then it has a delta load. So I can going to show you that. So if tomorrow you have a API or something else, or maybe you have a blob storage as a source and one lake as a target, then you can add new operations for that and you can use in here. Sometimes you can create a new pipeline if it's more complex, but in other time you can just add one activity in your child pipeline in here. In this here you can add one new operations, one case. for API call or CRM call or Azure function call or something like that. Mm. So here we have a two items. So you can see that. So you can see that here it's a full load based on this operation. There is no email functionality needed. But if I go to for another item which need a delta load, I forget to update a table. But anyway, let's check here. So this is a delta load one. So you can see that it has a load delta based on that particular conditions. It also has set um, this. It also set a window as well, watermark window as well. You can see that update query is here, and it also need email functionality. So it gets this detail from that email table as well for that particular movie rate items, not for all item like. So this is the one. And if I go to check here for movie one, and now if I anyway, no need to refresh, you can see those two files as well. And delta load is not doing anything. Why? Because I think I have already makes records there. I think I have a query here somewhere. No. So yeah, if you go to in here, it already have a makes number. That's why. So reset. So if I update this table, I think let me do 2000 this one. Otherwise, it taking long time. So I have only one item, so I am good to have this update rather than using where condition. So I have updated that. And now if I run this pipeline, you will see that it will update here again. Not this one. Cancel main pipeline. So this time what it will do, it will load a data from 2000 something, whatever I give range to whatever is left in the table. And it also update this watermark as well, because earlier you can see that it is more than this, it's full amount. If you check here results, but after execution of this pipeline, you will see that it will update this with more information, because this is already load and now new remaining one it will be there. So while it's doing that, we will come back after some time. Let's go back to here. So if this is the few things, like if you have now new requirements, like you have a sync as a data storage, and source as a REST API. And these are the information, like you need a delta load, you need email functionality, and this is your container name, and you have a URL because you have API. So for that, what you will need to do? Like these are the things you need to answer first. Like, do you need to change any configuration table, or you need to create new configuration table or something like that? So solution is you can add this kind of the information. So in your delta load, because you have delta load requirements, you can use ID. When you call your API, like today you have read 100 records, then next ID you can add here, and then tomorrow you will have a new ID greater than that. So you can do that way as well. And you can see status and URL as well if you are concatenating URL as well. And you slightly change your pipeline, you will add one case in your switch, and then you can have your logic from moving data from one place to another place. And then what about medallion architecture? If this one also you have, so basically I think so far we covered this one, but if you need to configure in this as well, then also you can do it very easily by just applying a few more parameters and introducing new config table for silver layer and gold layer, and adding this kind of the configuration in that, and modifying slightly pipelines. uh, so far we have used this resource in this demo. And let's conclude this. So, like, what is metadata driven approach? Metadata driven approach is just like a control information of your business requirement, or structure of your business requirement, or behavior of your business requirements. It helps you to save your cost and time, and it helps you to do scalability, reusability. It unified your code, and it introduce a pattern in your data engineering pipeline. Actually, it's really doing engineering of your business requirements. So here is resources if you want to do more. I have here step by step if you want to build your own metadata driven approach. And this is the blogs, a link, and GitHub links. And before we go there, I'm just want to show you here because we're doing something here. So it executed, and if I see here, if I refresh, they should have data. You can see they have a data now, even though it's less, but yeah. And if I check this table, so now you can see that what value it will have if I run this, select. So you can see now it has added this information extra. Earlier it was 5 zeros, but now it has this value 16,072. So with that, I would like to thank you for attending this session. And if you have any question, then please feel free to ask me.